I've had this problem for a long time, and I'm sure you have it too. We are drowning in content. Every day, new YouTube videos, tweets, posts, newsletters. It never stops. Finding the right information is not the issue. The challenge is processing it. So, I decided to take a shot at fixing this problem for myself, and I started with YouTube. The solution is quite simple. So I built a workflow, or someone would call it an agent, that analyzes videos from selected YouTube channels, extracts insights and action items, and shows them in a custom UI. I use n8n workflows where it gets new videos with Epify parsers, stores the data in Airtable, and then uses GPT-5 to get insights and then displays it in a custom UI that I created in React. This video is the first part where I go through the implementation of the workflow, and in the next video I'll go through the creation of custom UI in React. So subscribe to this channel not to miss this video and probably some other interesting videos in future. Let's go! Okay, first of all, I want to give you some real numbers of how many hours I saved, and it's not a lot, but you'll see the number of channels that I have right now, and probably it's okay. So yeah, in total I saved 26 hours. I think it's probably for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Yeah, and it ranges from 2.2 hours on lighter week and 6.2 hours on the busiest one. But I think in future I'll have more videos, more YouTube channels, and the amount of time saved will be much bigger. Okay, let's go to the implementation. Let's start with the tables that I have in Airtable, and the setup is really simple. I have 4 tables, 4 channels, YouTube videos, insights, and errors. In channels, I have some useful metadata about channels and some info about the last run of the workflow. I also have an interesting system of how I add new channels that I find. I have a Telegram bot where I just send a link, and it goes through a separate workflow in n8n and adds channel here with all the necessary metadata like title, URL, avatar, and so on. Next to the video processing table, you see that I have some metadata like title, video link, channel, length, also video summary, video transcript, and if it was processed, and some other data that I show on the UI, just to give a sneak peek, something like that. A table with insights, they are linked to each video by video link, and some other info like novelty score, key quotes, urgency, and so on. And also you can see it all in custom UI like here. The last one is errors of the workflow. Nothing fancy, I just like to track it like this, then to see like what is resolved and what is not. The workflow itself has 3 main parts, and I think you can find a lot of templates there that do something similar, but I really did a lot of iterations to make it work as I wanted to work, so there's a lot of custom stuff. So what are the main parts? The first one is a part where we check the availability of new videos for the list that I have in Airtable. Then we take those videos and get transcripts for them. And then we analyze those transcripts to find some insights, summaries, and some action items. And let's start with the first part. And for this, I'll open one of the past successful executions to see the real data that we have. So it all starts with a schedule trigger, and I found empirically that it's good to check videos twice every day, and I use a custom cron expression for that. Probably for my case it's okay to use some standard settings, but usually cron is more customizable, and with the advancements of AI you can generate custom expression for you easily. I'll show you an example. And I told it what I want, and it just generated the cron expression. I pasted it there and it works. It's just more flexible. And then I retrieve active YouTube channels from the table that I have in Airtable, and it's really straightforward. Here I set up the access token, and then I use search from a specific database, and I select the right table. The only customization is that I look for only active channels, the column that I have here. And yeah, then we get the list of all the channels that I have. Next step is that I loop through those channels and find the latest videos. In the loop, I prepare the request for the parser, and then I use HTTP request node to get the data from Epify. And it's also very simple. So I use URL that I get from the page of the scraper. Here you can go to endpoints and you get the URL with the token. And then I set up some generic credentials to have this token here. And I send a body with JSON. And as you can see here, I just input JSON from the previous request, because in the previous step in this code node, I prepared the request. And I find it easier to use code node to do all of the data manipulations than standard n8n node, because it's just easier. And you can use AI to help you do that. For example, I didn't code it myself. I just used Claude to create this script for me. I copied it and used it in this node. The only custom thing that I have here in this request is that oldest post date is 1 day, and I found that this is the only way to get the latest videos. Even though I parse videos twice every day, there can be some duplicates, but then I filter them, so I don't need to process those videos twice. The important note here is that I use batch size of 3, because even though Epify supports the processing of multiple channels at once, I find that processing them in batches of 3 or 4 makes it more reliable, because sometimes when you have a long list, for example, of 20 channels, some of them can fail and the whole batch will fail and return an error. Then in this filter node, we remove channels that don't have update, and I found through experiments that those channels that have this error, they usually don't have update. And as you can see from this batch, we have 6 items that will be processed next, and 9 discarded items. In the next step, we update the records in Airtable. I think it's also pretty straightforward. The only thing is that for the operation, I use create and update, because as I said, I analyze videos twice a day, and sometimes videos repeat, so I don't want to have duplicates. So if there is a video, it will be updated with new info. If there is no video like that, it will be created. And here I map all of the fields from the JSON to columns in table. And here we have the output of all of the added and updated videos. This top part is probably not that necessary. Here I try to gather information of how many videos were processed for each channel and the last available date. Then I save it here so you can see the last check and the number of videos available for last check. It's just for my monitoring purposes. Here also I have a custom script that I didn't write myself. I just used Claude for that. You can see it here. If you want to go deeper into this code node, you can download the workflow, go through it and understand what it does. Between the first part of checking the video's availability and the processing of transcripts, we have a transition part where I filter out videos that don't have transcripts, and I do that to check if the video was processed before, and only send videos to the second part of the workflow that really need to be processed. And here we check if we receive any data at all. If we don't receive any videos at all, we go straight to the third part of the workflow where we analyze the insights. And if we have some data, I send notification to my Telegram bot. I'll show you an example right now. In a format like this, you have new updates, new videos to process. And as you can see from this run, we received an empty JSON because we don't have any videos that don't have a transcript, but we had some videos that weren't processed and didn't have insights and summaries. So we went straight to this part. Let me open an execution that was successful and had some videos to process? Yeah, so it was this one. So as you can see here, we had 2 items that don't have transcript, and 4 that had transcript. As you can see here, we sent some notification to Telegram, and then we went to the second part with those 2 videos. And for the second part where I get the transcripts, first step is that I just leave the URLs. Probably this step is not that necessary, but I just liked the cleanness of it, and really you don't need any of this data in this workflow. Then we have a loop that processes everything in batches of 2. Also, the reason is that Epify parsers are not always reliable, and that's why we need to reduce the amount of errors that we can get. Here I use HTTP request tool to get the data. I use this YouTube transcript parser here, where the payload is video URL and method get. Here we have the HTTP request. Here we prepare the data, also a custom code that I did with help of Claude. And after that we save the results in Airtable. You see I have the operation update here, selected the right table and the database. I mapped each item manually and selected the URL as a field to map on. And then I mapped transcript and also video transcript JSON. And I mapped 2 fields because there is such data and why not mapping it. But for now I use just a plain text to get the summaries, but in future maybe I'll have some reg or something, and when we have timestamps, it's a great way to find answers more precisely. Maybe I want to know at what time a certain thing was mentioned, and I think this can be useful for future. After this I clear out the output because we don't need the result of this loop further, because we saved it in Airtable, and then we can use Airtable to get the right data. And to clear the output I use a code node, and I think it's the easiest way to do it. And the third part of the workflow is where some interesting stuff begins. I start from searching for all of the records in Airtable that are not processed and have video transcript. I return them all here, and then we go into the loop for analysis. For the analysis I used basic LLM chain, and it's super simple. The prompt is like this, and to be honest, I just generated it with Claude again. So here you can see I just added some things that I wanted from the prompt, and it gave me a really great prompt. So what we have here, we add transcript, we add some metadata, we have some instructions for different categories of insights, and then quality criteria for the insights. Here you can see how this prompt is filled in with data. And I use GPT-5 model here. The most important parameter I think with GPT-5 is reasoning effort, because before that, when I just switched from GPT-4o to GPT-5, I didn't set this parameter, and I got a lot of timeout errors, because when you don't set the reasoning parameter, GPT-5 tries to set the effort of reasoning by itself, and probably for my use case it set like the highest reasoning effort. And I'll show you now from the money that I spent on it that it's a lot. Yeah, and you can see that I spent like more than $1 per day for this, compared to where I used just GPT-4o. And also the problem is that it had a timeout error, and the workflow stopped, and I didn't get all the data that I need. So yeah, through trial and error, I found that you need to set up this reasoning effort. And the last important thing of this LLM chain is that we have structured output, because I have a certain structure of how I display the insights here, for example, and I need to have it stable, I need to have it the same every time, so I used this structure. And again, AI helped me to do stuff for AI. Here you can see that through some iterations I come up with the right structure for the output. Then when we successfully completed the LLM chain, we merged the initial data and the data from LLM, and we take some of the fields like video summary, most important insight, and top action item, and add them to videos table in Airtable. I'll show it to you here, like most important thing, top action item. and then we show it in UI here for every video, like this. And for the insights themselves, we do a little transformation. Here we just add the video link to each insight, and we add them to the Airtable. Also very simple, just map the right field to the right column, and we get insights table like this. The final step of this part is that we just send a notification to Telegram that we have some insights that we've parsed, and also I add the total insights found and average novelty score. The most important thing that I use this workflow every day. Every day I go to the UI, read the summaries, read the insights, and it really helps me be up to date with recent trends, because yeah, there are so many videos and I just don't have time to watch all of them. And this workflow is not perfect. There are things that I want to improve in the parts. I want to add a flow that analyzes comments for each videos, takes the insights, takes the summaries, and prepares a report on comments, because sometimes the juiciest part of the videos is in comments, and I want to get those insights too. I think you'll see this improvement in the next video, so yeah, don't forget to subscribe. And one thing that I wanted to add that is not very pleasant is the costs. So it costs a lot. So for example, for Epify, I have a plan of $39, and for now, when I only use it for scraping YouTube, it's a bit pricey. But then I want to parse X, maybe Substack, and maybe even some Instagram accounts, TikTok accounts. So probably I'll use all of the credits. Then I also had to pay for the Airtable subscription, because they have the limit of 1,000 requests for their API, and with the workflow and custom UI that I have it, I was well over this limit, so I had to buy subscription for it. And of course, OpenAI is also not free, so I pay some money for that. But of course, there are a lot of ways how to optimize it. For example, you can use your own parsers. You can use something like Supabase to store all of your data, because it's much cheaper and you don't have API limit. And possibly in future videos, I'll work on those improvements too. Okay, so let me know what you think about this video in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe not to miss my next videos, as I'm going to do a lot of them about n8n automations and some other AI related stuff. And by the way, in the next video I'll go through the process of creating the custom UI in React that I created for this project. So yeah, subscribe not to miss it. Again, thanks a lot for watching, and see you next time.